A'udzu billahi minasyaitonir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi wa bihi nasta'in. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are already done discussing China today, America today, and Russia today. Now I'll be talking to you uh, the topic entitled Europe today. But before that, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. We can divide Europe into three stages. The first one is pre-Christian Europe, Christian Europe, and post-Christian Europe. There was a time that Europe uh, is a region or a place where paganism dominated the entire peninsula until it was baptized into Christianity by the Western Christianity led by Pope. The government of church was challenged by philosophers and kings. The Roman Empire was not a Christian uh, government. It was an empire that is created in the idea of uh, paganism and idolatry until it was succumbed to the power of the church. Constantine created a Christian Europe. So that's why there was this so-called Christian Europe. And the Pope was the symbol of Christianity. That that for so long a time it dictates and it had this power. It has the hammer and the axe to grind the European peninsula. But after uh, years and decades of government or centuries of government, Catholic Church dominated in Europe. But before that, as I've always been saying, the Christian world was divided into two groups: the Orthodox Christianity that is based in Byzantine or Constantinople under the guidance of the Patriarch of Constantinople. And the second one is the Christian, Western Christianity. Western Christianity is molded by the Pope. And in 800 AD, Charlemagne rose to power but was baptized and under the blessing of the Pope. The Pope and the Emperor are two swords of God's government. The first one, the Pope, is the leader, the spiritual leader of the entire Europe, and the second one is the Emperor, the one that is uh, entrusted with the worldly affairs. And after so many twists and turns of history, the the Pope wanted to baptize all the world into the name of Christianity or the name of Jesus Christ. That's why the first stage of colonialism is deployed by the Pope. In the name of Jesus Christ, they tried to conquer all the lands around the world, and that was championed by the the Spain and Portugal until such time that there was this controversy, and to the point that they had this conflict in dividing the resources of the world. The two was the case of the two conflict, the conflict of the two powers were decided by the Pope in Italy or Vatican. So that's why the first or the initial stage of colonialism is uh, uh, sanctioned by the Christian Church. until such time that there was a rebellion in the Holy Roman Empire. The Netherlands uh, took its people, and they declared independence from Spain. And other powers in Europe were separated from the church. So that's why there was a rebellion in the church. And the glaring fact is during the rebellion or the French Revolution toppled the existing government of the religious men in France. Until such time that in the church, the Catholic Church was toppled in France, and that revolution spread around Europe and around the world. So that's why we have American Revolution. And after this, after the initial stages of colonialism, came the colonialism of the secular leadership of France and Great Britain. So when Great Britain and France joined the colonialism around the world, those colonialism were not in the name of the Jews. That is in the name of civilizing the whole world into the culture of the Western world. So unlike with uh, Spain that has this kind of doctrine of Christianizing the entire world. Uh, France and Great Britain did not have that mission, but what their missions are to civilize the uncivilized part of the world. So that's how powerful Europe that time. Until such time that in 1914, when they owned the whole world, and the different caliphate and different sultanates in the Muslim world were uh, dismantled by these empires. There were no challengers around the world. That to the point that each country around the world was either under Great Britain or France or Spain. They literally divided all the lands around the world. Even in the Bangsamoro, we had this. Uh, there were rivalry between the different powers, namely Great Britain, Germany, Austrian Empire, Italian Empire, Belgium, and a lot more countries went to the Bangsamoro or in what then sultanates just to occupy and hoist the kind of flag that they have. So that's why Europe was so powerful during that time until such time that in 1914 that we cannot remove uh, conflict and distribution, the maldistribution of the world and rivalry. We cannot remove that in all those powerful countries until such time that they collided. Their interests, the interests of France collides with the interests of Great Britain and Germany, and so on and so forth. So there was this different factions and alliances that paved the way to the Great War in World War II. And for example, the France, Germany, France, Russia, Great Britain, Spain were all allies, and they had this enemies, the so-called Central Powers led by Germany and the Ottoman Empire, and so on and so forth. So there was this kind of conflict that facilitated the spark of the World War One, and that war resulted to the defeat of the German alliance, and Germany became a spoils of war of the Allies to the time that to the point that there was this agreement that Germany should be managed by the by great powers, other great powers, until the rise of Hitler in the center stage of politics in Germany. He breached all the agreements, and instead Germany became so powerful, uh, and Hitler organized it and had these relations around the world, and he wanted to conquer entire Europe, and that again sparked another world war. Actually, when though we say that this is a world war, essentially this is European wars among each other. So that's where that two wars were essentially European wars against each other, against one another. So that's the real happening in the two. And after the World War II, America became the superpower because all the European countries were either weakened or bankrupt and destroyed by war. And it was America who had the axe to grind and led this kind of reparation and restoration of Europe. So that's why United States became the ruling power after World War II. But after so many years, Europe did not die. Uh, Somewhat like it removed in the map. No, that's not the result of the war. They became recuperated, and they rose again into the center stage, but they organized a alliance in order to actually prevent another war, and that was the beginning of the so-called European Union. And today there are 31 member of the European Union. So that is how powerful. Even today, the European Union is somewhat like a threat to the United States of America. There is no single France, because all of this became part of the European Union, with the exception of Great Britain, which was in 2016 left the organization, because I think the interest of uh, Great Britain or United Kingdom is not given in the bloc. So that's why uh, Great Britain or United Kingdom left the organization. So we are now in the point of time that the European Union is under the whole guardianship of Germany and France. And because of the war in Ukraine, we saw that we saw the inutility of European Union. Although there is a double standard that we can see in the present, because there are people who say that a European Union sanctioned Russia, but that's not the case. In compliance with the United States of America's command to boycott and to sanction Russia because of the war in Ukraine, not all the products or services of the of the Russian government was sanctioned by Europe. Until now, energy and fuel are even increased in European Union. Uh, the France and United Kingdom are importing fuels in uh, in Russia. So recently, the president of the European Commission or European Union, together with the president of France, Macron, would like to visit the China, uh, in order to have this kind of bilateral agreement to pave the way of the beautiful world and a better world in the future. What is important today is that uh, European countries are not really that uh, servant of the United States of America. There is a world order that is in the offing, and the European countries within 500 years are slowly recuperating, and Europe is different from any other countries. Although these countries were devastated by so many wars in history, but still they are powerful enough, and that the force that would be reckoned with. Thank you so much, and assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.